Check, check, check. Now I gotta try to make sure that the audio is good because apparently last time the audio wasn't coming in that good. Now right now the audio shows the meters show to be stupid ass fly. Got a fly in here. The meters show to be not that bad, but it's almost like it's maxed out. You see me swatting at the fly. Check 1 2, check 1 2. Let me raise it up on my camera real quick. 1 second. All right. Well, that's up there. Now I'm gonna check to make sure that your boy is make sure that your boy can be heard decently clearly on the YouTube stream. And this fly is about to get motherfucking caught. I'm gonna get this fly. Watch, y'all gonna see me get this fly during the stream. All right, Twitter, not Twitter. My TikTok is going. My YouTube. Let me check the YouTube stream sound real quick. I'm gonna get this fly. Watch, y'all gonna see me get this fly during the stream. It should be fine. It sounds fine. All right, Twitter, not Twitter. My TikTok is going. Okay. My YouTube sounds fine. So we're gonna get started. What's up? I'm gonna cover this up so it doesn't look as crazy for my TikTok folks. And we're going to get started. So today we're talking about the allegory of the continents, which has now been digitized, okay? Let's just first take a look at something that I think is just so amazing. Well, it looks like I'm going to have to not keep that there, so y'all just going to have to see me do my switching. But what I think that's so amazing is one of the pieces that I have never seen this piece within the book. And I'm going to show the book here shortly of where the book, because I have 3 volumes of the book and give a little bit of backstory about the book. But this is a figurine atop of inside of a church in Germany. And it has all the figurines of each of the continents. And we're going to see some similarities within many of these that are on here, as far as the colors, as far as the pearls or the gold earrings or certain things wearing red, white, and blue. We're going to be seeing a lot of that during this. But just to get started, as the stream's kind of getting going and people are kind of coming up in. What's up, everybody? This is what you show. So you see the red, white, and blue arrow in his hand. Come down here, and his arrow, the feathers that you see are red, blue, and green feathers. Sometimes they're red, blue, and white. Sometimes they're red, blue, and gold. Sometimes the green is in there as well. You see the metal breastplate of armor. The possible chain of beads might be portraying pearls there, but we see the obvious melanation. We see the obvious protruding lips. We see the obvious nose and the eyes, the almond-shaped like eyes. We see all of that. I wish we could see the hair up under there too, but there's no mistaking what the person was doing when they made this, right? Let me zoom out to show you what it's on. I zoomed out too far. Let me just go back out. So we're going to go here and we're going to get started, and I'm going to tell you what I found. We're going to first talk about let me go here. We're going to first talk about what is the allegory of the continents. Well, long ago, when I first started my little journey down my family history and learned about us being Indians, I started looking up certain things about it. And one of the channels that I came upon was two channels. Sosolina on YouTube, as well as um, Carimio. Okay, two of the most prominent ones that I kind of came upon that really had me thinking like, man, what is going on? And one that was showing a lot of receipts was the Allegory of the Continents. They showed a lot of receipts from this book. Now, this book in particular had been erased from the Internet archives for the longest. You can just type it in, Allegory of the Continents archive. In fact, you can type it in right now, and it's supposed to come up, but it doesn't come up. And in fact, I'll show you. You'll type in Allegory of the Continents archive, and typically it should come up, and you see it actually right there. But when you click on it now, it says it's no longer available. So it's not like it wasn't never there. We definitely know it was there. But they say it was taken down for copyright, or really it says item may be taken down for various reasons, including decisions of the uploader due to a violation of our term of use. So I don't know what was the violation of the term of use, and maybe it says something about copyright up in here. I don't think I read this whole thing, but either way, they took it off. Okay, and that really, really, really made a lot of us angry. And so I went and I was searching and scrounging the internet for it, and I actually came across Carimio's, uh, what do you call it? Patreon, his Patreon page, and on his Patreon page, I um, I was able to get a hold of him. I paid a little $5 a month or whatever, and I was like, "Hey man, do you have any copies of this?" Because it said when I was looking for it, he kept popping up saying that he had a copy on a page, but every time I would click, it wasn't listed in the books that he sold. So long story short, got a hold of him, got the book, or at least I got 3 volumes of the book. There was 8 volumes, and I didn't even know that until late. But I wish I would have downloaded them all. But the Allegory of the Continents, it's good to have both this book as well as the digitized version, which we have online. And the reason why I say that is because this is in English, and this is actually somebody telling you what each of these things are in English. Now we're going to go to and where they're at as well. Let me kind of pull this up. It also is showing us where these things are as well. What's up, everybody in TikTok land? I mean, yeah, TikTok land. Y'all can see me on here. Yep. So it actually shows you the churches of where these was at. So I was actually in the process of copying and pasting. I couldn't copy from here. Literally had to type each one of these in a Google and trying to find each of these locations to see if I can find remnants of these in the real world today. And I was finding many different things. But let me just back out of here. In fact, I think I had copied some. Yeah, like I went and you can see it, like I found some Wikipedia pages that were in German, as you can see, but they had photo or paintings that are inside of that particular church, which was one of the paintings inside of the Allegory of the Continents book. So I was able to basically go through here. Let me see if I can find that one in particular right there. As you can see, it's in the Allegory of the Continents book right there. And I said, oh my God, dude, I can't believe I actually found it. It's like I'm actually scrounging around through the world and being able to find this shit in real life, but online, digitized. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, some of these places, somebody has likely been there taking photos and either uploaded those photos to the Google Maps. Maybe there's a Wikipedia page about it. Maybe it has a website itself for that particular church, and there might be a virtual tour. I was hoping for anything, and I was actually coming up with quite a bit of things. Again, like that's the one I saw from the book that was on a Wikipedia page. And let me show this. Let me show you this right here. It says America. So I knew I knew 100% that one of these folks in here was America. And we already knew from the book that it said that the one at the top left-hand corner was America. But it actually says that in this freaking thing. As you see, Africa, America, links to Africa, America. Typically, I say Europe and Asia around there a bit too, but either way, it said America. So I was already, you know what I'm saying, feeling good about my little find. And then I found another one. This was another one here. And as you can see, there is a painting. I found a web page. As you can see, the web page is in German, but your boy still found it, right? And I knew I found that painting, and I knew the one at the far right-hand corner for y'all in TikTok world, at the far right-hand corner is the copper-colored Indian. And I knew that. And over here, it says what? America, okay? It literally says America on their page, okay? Africa, Europe, Asia, America, all right? So I knew I was already coming up with the shit, you know what I'm saying? And then even here, I had found a Instagram page, a German Instagram page. And it's hard to see, but right here in this corner, I know this painting, and there is a black or melanated Indian right there in that corner. I can show you in the book. But it's all about having an eye. Your boy was really out here trying to find, and there he goes right there. Your boy was really out here trying to find all of these for y'all. And then I found the website. Now this is a thing on the website, but I'm gonna just go to the website itself. But before I go to the website itself, but just to show y'all, this was the actual book from the Allegory of the Continents. And as you can see, it shows you each church that it's in. And I noticed that all of these are churches. I think there might be some that's not a church. I forgot, there might be some other type, but typically they're all churches, okay? And some of these words are starting to come into play in some of the history books and stuff that I've been reading here lately, like the Laurentians or some shit. Anyways, I'm still kind of looking into that, but these will be the buildings. And as you can see, churches over there, church pews just like we got. But as you can see, there goes that one that I was showing y'all that was in a church that I found. And there it goes right there as well in the book itself. So I love this book. As you can see, this book gives you all the information in English. But if you go to the website, let's go to the website. It's not that you can't get English information also. So let me get off of here. So let's say I click on this. Now, first things first, when you click on it, I love the fact that there are clickable dots all over each one of these. And when you click it, what does it say when I tap on this? It says America, okay? Now, why is that so striking? I'm gonna tell you why that's striking. Because yes, it's one thing to have a book done by somebody who went over there, took these photos, put them in the book, and put it out there. But people still wasn't believing that, right? They'd be like, oh, blah, 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 anybody could have done that, blah, 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 right? Well, now you have a digitized version from the Germans themselves. That means, and this is modern day, in order for this to be on here where I can click on this fucking link right now, somebody had to take a photograph, somebody had to upload these, somebody had to create this virtual tour where you can move around and select clickable dots and type in, what's this nigga sitting here right here? Oh, that's an American, okay? And they put it in there, okay? I don't think that they was delusional when they put this shit in there, right? I don't think anybody thinks that they was delusional when they put this shit in there. They knew, sometimes it's hard to get that shit to go away. They knew that that right there was the American, okay? That's the biggest takeaway to take away from this. Not only is the allegory of the continents digitized, but on top of that, in order for them to digitize it, they actually told the truth about each of these figurines and paintings. Now, let's go through some of them, as this page can be a little annoying to navigate. Let's go through other paintings and see kind of what we can see, and also how to see more information about it. Again, like I said, the book has all of this information translated. Not really all of this information. I don't know if, they, whatever wording they typed is probably their wording, but I'm pretty sure it's similar as far as like who the painter is and who the blah blah what the whatever is, what year and all that other shit it is. But it also has information below here, and you can typically this one doesn't have that much information, but you can typically highlight it on your iPad or your iPhone or whatever and click the little translate, and then you can go ahead and read it. So it's not too hard. It says it's an excerpt, Christ monogram, side sculptures, Saint Michael and John Evangelist, altarpiece, glorification of the Eucharist by the four continents, side sculptures, Saint Peter and Saint Paul and Paul. Okay, so that's just, if you're trying to dig in a little further. But let's look at some of these. Now, one thing to note, you see these little numbers, and it took me a moment to understand, but the ones with the numbers are going to have the clickable dots. That's going to tell you what each one of these, what's inside of these. So we're going to click on one of these here. And as you can see, you have the clickable dots. And I can click on a dot and see, okay, which one is which? Who is who? Now, let's take a guess. Let's take a guess. Which one of these is the American? We pretty much know, right? Let me click on it. America. Now, how did I know that? Did your boy just guessed it? You know what I'm saying? How did I just guess that? Does he look copper color like your boy? Okay. Yes. Okay. He's damn near my goddamn color. It's like they took my color from the goddamn painting colors and swatched his ass, with a little shading. Okay. We know what the motherfucking copper colored man looks like. Okay. But also, let's study a couple of things about them. Let me see if we got a closer photo of them, first of all. They do. Let me go to the closer one. Now that we know who it is, wow, now that's amazing. Now look at the colors. Now we're going to look at a few things. I want y'all to take a look at a few things, because some of these things are historically correct. Not some of these, all of these things are historically correct, based upon even some of the writers, like the DeSoto letter. We're going to see about the pearls. But like, as you can see, you have a copper colored Indian with pearl earrings, right? Feathers on his head, blue and green, but also has red and blue feathers down here. Always a red, blue, sometimes green, sometimes red, white, and blue, sometimes red, white, and gold. And he's holding pearls, multiple bands of pearls, a couple bands of pearls, or one long string, and that's your American. Now these were taken. Now let's think about this. Most of these, let me go to the book. Most of these were done around the 1700s. Let's go to the main page where it shows all the years. Right here. Most of these were done in these years. Now you got to think about it. These years are during the times that they say that the only niggas that should be over here, period, in America, should be some nappy-headed African slaves that are working the fields. And in fact, between the 1700s, let me just show this. Between the 1700s is the time where the fresh off the boat niggas was coming from. Let me show you that. Based upon the census records, if you were to take a look at what they say here, They say, oh yeah, most of the importations of anybody, not just Africans, came between 1715 and 1808. That's where your so-called bulk, and they're all estimates, as you can see, because they all just got zeros. So it's just like, yeah, 30,000 that year, another 40,000 that year, 70,000, throw 100,000 that year, fuck it, whatever, just go with it, right? But this is the time during the time when slaves supposedly were just coming over here in rampant numbers, right? And that's the only kind of niggas that should be on this landmass, according to them, right? But at the same damn time, you got niggas in Germany. Are they just blind to what the hell they drawing? Did they forget to put the chains in there and the whips? Did somebody forget? Did they forget to draw Kuta Kinte? Did they forget him? Shouldn't he be in one of these paintings? Okay, getting strung up. All right, where they at? Where these figures? Okay, where they at? That's all I'm asking. Where the fuck they at? Okay, because they not in here. Okay, there's a whole people in here is having a good time. Okay, they're dancing around the fire, like they say in certain books, like they say in certain historical Voyager books when they say they dance around the fires. DeSoto's book. But let's go back to to the Allegory of the Continents website. Okay, we're gonna look at several more of these, and then I'm gonna correlate them because there's tons of them. It's literally y'all could go through and have so many Indian receipts, and just keep every time you get to a new live stream, just ask a nigga, who is this? Where this painting come from? I got another 500 for you. I could come on the live stream for the next 500 days straight, nigga, with a new painting and be like, where this come from? Why they say this is America right here? Why would they put this on the website? That's what y'all can do with this information, okay? So and you got, if you asking me what the link is, you're gonna have to take a screenshot of that right there and copy it and and type it in, because don't ask your boy to figure out what the fuck that okay. One's Allegorian. I think it's Ertil Allegorian or some shit like that. But the reason why I see that, we see when I click on that right there, it says on the index, it says Allegorian. Like when I first found this page, I found the page of the church that had the picture, and I was looking through Google Images, and that's when I first seen it. And then eventually, your boy was like, "Wait a minute!" And I clicked on the little index. I knew I was in a German website, and I saw Allegorian. Obviously, that's allegory, right? The continents, and that's where I ended up on said page. With all the whole thing, the whole damn thing. I ain't even been through them all yet. But let's take a look at a couple of others. Let's take a look at that one. That's one right there. Now, as again, you can see, it shows the numbers. So it'll tell you who is who, where is where. And it is amazing. This is the church. Look at this, man. How you gonna deny these churches and they motherfucking frescoes that they got at the top? Ain't they called frescoes or some shit? Like they was painting for real. Okay, let me go back. Let's see, one of these should have. That's a different scene. Is it this one? That's a different scene. One of these I thought I had it. Let's go to another one. I could see it right there. Oh, there. I can see it right there. Let me get that off of there. Get off of there. There's your the second to the left should be your Indian, and you can tell by the colors as well, but also by the pearls. Typically, they always say sometimes they look very close to Africa, but we don't look close to them, but They like to do it like that, you know. But let's go outside of here. But let's look at like this one right here. All right, and then when we take a look, this one's not hard. This one's an obvious because I thought it said it. Yeah, it says it right there. America on the actual fucking wall. Okay, so there's no need to label it, but I'm pretty sure they got it labeled. But as you can see, there's pearls. She's got the pearl earring. She's got the double pearls around the neck. She's got the feathers, which are red and gold, with a light blue, like the I don't know, the garment that she wearing with the red feathers along the thing right there. Like everything about this. So let me pull this up. Where let's see, pearls. Well, you have stuff like this. Let's see. In De Soto's book, pearls, got certain oysters. Everybody had pearls, but I wanted to show you where they talked about them wearing pearls with pearl-colored tassels. This is decked with pearl-colored tassels, sea pearls, basket. All right, I'm back up. All right. My bad. Okay. Your boy back. Hold up. Let me get that back going. All right. So I'm looking for the document that says something about them wearing pearls. There are all sorts of pearls in abundance and pearls. This is, the history of Hernando de Soto talking about all these damn pearls. Pearls from the coast, pearls. Were the pearls of the lands. Pearls, they were round their necks. Right here is one. So it says, round their necks and upon their arms they wore chains and bracelets of pearls, up to which blah blah blah. It says, from their ears hung either large pearls at the feet of birds or such ornaments. So we know that they're talking about, this is also the letter of Hernando de Soto down here. So we know that they're talking about the fact that these people wore pearls. And there also is another one. Is it this one? All time, many of the pearls they were found filled with pearls. There's another one that talks about that they would wear 2, 3, and sometimes even 4 rows of pearls around their necks also. But long story short, they were pearls, okay? Lots and lots and lots of pearls. They even talk about the gold and silver that was found there, letter of Hernando de Soto. So yeah, I'm sure it's in here. There's a lot of references to pearls. So, but as we can see, there's your pearls. Pearls around her neck, pearls around her in her ears, a little diamond or a pearl in by her what a third eye chakra, as well. You know what I mean? So these are your allegory. This is how you know some of this stuff is historically correct. It has been something. What's up, y'all? Make sure I ain't miss nobody down here in the TikTok world. What's up to Nawal's in here? What's up to Nawal? So this is Sammy. I mentioned him way back. Definitely follow him. Appreciate that. Got the Nawal cosign. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate it. Appreciate y'all liking the live and everything. Yeah, we're gonna correlate this. How goes it, fam? This is my fam, Dr. Wilson. What up, Dr. Wilson? Appreciate you coming in. What's up, American Royalties? You got the book downloaded. I got 3 books downloaded, and I can send you a Dropbox link if you want 3 volumes. But you can also just go to this website that's now has it digitized. You'll just have to type in that name. Oops. Type in this name. Screenshot that. But also, if you DM me, just put the word book or whatever in there, and I'll send you the link to that way you can have the hard copy books. Because on here you're gonna have to go through and screenshot, which you'll probably still want to do that anyway because all of these are on here. Look, even this place is on here, which this is a place that has America as a whole room. Let me see here. And each of these, I just seen one of them. Looks like they don't have them all on here, but let me see. Let's see, that's not the one. I just seen. I'll show you on the last one. But where'd it go? Right there. That's the one I was looking for. When I clicked on it, I didn't see it, but let's try that again. Oh, here it is. It's down here. There it is. There's the whole wall of Americans having a good old time by the fire. So this is just like the one I showed you in the book. It's literally the same thing. Oh, yeah, but I'm still on the page in the book. That's what's up. Right? See how that works? So yeah, I'm still on the page in the book, and you can see that. But now we can see it on here and see it in its fully on the wall, and you can tell that's on the wall because there's the chandelier at the very top, which is pretty dope. So like, yeah, no, like these things, like the fact that they put this in here and labeled these people as American is uncanny to me. Like I literally thought when they took it off the internet, when they took the Allegory of the Continents off the book, off the archive, I literally thought, man, they really trying to get rid of it. That's it. That's no more, you know. But maybe they wanted to drive people toward the website, so they was trying to, you know, do something for the copyright. But at the same time, it's like, how people gonna find this website unless we showing people? People probably only knew about the Allegory of the Continents book because we showed them. To be honest, here goes another one. Because we showed them, to be honest, and it probably had tons of clicks. Probably had the most clicks of anything on the damn website. So here goes another American right here, and as you can tell, he's got blue, he's got gold, he's got pearls. Okay. Got the white feathers, got a turban, okay? Sometimes they have turbans, sometimes they don't. They just have the feathers. But there's a lot of these that you're gonna find. And so one thing I'm gonna move towards another topic, but in keeping with this, is I want you to notice how these people are depicted. Why are these people depicted in such? You got Indians, melanated, right? But not only just melanated Indians that are melanated, that let me find one real quick, that are dressed in such an extravagant manner and not a look at this one. Let's see which one. That's Asian. Let's see which one is America. That's Europe. Sometimes these things. Africa. Oh, America. I should have knew the one on the far right. America right there. I should have knew. I just didn't see him over there. My bad. So we're going to zoom in on America real quick. And you got to think, look at how he's dressed. Now this one, he's somewhat to the more primitive, but he even has his garment. They always have the garment like a toga-like garment. Okay, is what I'm getting to. They always wearing their colors, red, blue, sometimes white, sometimes gold, sometimes green, but always a lot of the red and blue, just like the blood and Crips colors, okay? But you got to think about this. A lot of these people are pictured with these toga-like outfits, along with the pearls, along with the feathers, along with the melanation, along with the gold, along with the bow and arrows, like they always stay strapped, like niggas is always doing, along with a lot of these particular descriptions, right? And what am I getting to? Well, maybe it made me think, because where do I want to go first? Let's talk about porticos first. Okay? Let's pull up an excerpt, Porticos, from a Voyager book talking about some of the voyagers of people who came here. Okay? And on this, okay, it says right here, the habitation of the cacique, which are like the chiefs, the high-end people, your upper echelons, you know, built upon the mound, was larger and more commodious than the huts of his people, but not otherwise materially different in construction. The Portuguese gentleman who accompanied De Soto describes the houses of the chiefs at the top in certain parts of the present state of Alabama, to have porticos on their doors. Now, what is a portico? I could have left that alone when I first seen it. I could have left it alone. Oops, let me plug in my phone before my phone dies and my TikTok world is gonna be mad at me. So I could have left that as it was. I think I got a free port over here. There we go. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I could have left that as it was, but something about me was like, what is a portico? Especially they talking about Alabama, okay, and talking about the Indians and the portico, right? So when you look up what porticos are, for those that don't know, some of y'all seen my video about porticos. Porticos. And you look at the images, well, these are porticos. What are porticos? The steeples that lead into the porch, or a porch is really a porch. The word porch comes from portico also. But the caciques, according to this, the caciques, excuse me, who had their houses on top of mounds, which means they was your upper echelon folk, had porticos on their doors. Okay? Now, that's not too much different than like Mayan pyramids, right? Images. Some of these Mayan pyramids where you have the only things these don't have, and I bet there's some, one here or two or three there, that might have porticos, but those are just openings. But these are structures that sit upon top mounds as well, but they're really more sitting upon, sitting atop of pyramids, right? And they don't really have porticos on those. But you do have porticos all throughout the Americas. Now, these are your standard porticos, right? Buildings like that. But you know what else has porticos? State capitol buildings, as you just heard me say. All your state capitol buildings and your little old school, old world buildings that we know that they did not build, these white folks, have porticos on them as well. Okay? Why am I getting to that? Why am I showing all these porticos and these similarities? And these Indians in Alabama building, having porticos. And then you can be like, you can probably see homes in Alabama. Let's see. Alabama homes with porticos. Well, there you go. Porticos. All in, even in your small homes, okay? Even if you were to look at, there was something else I was just thinking of. But, oh, yeah. Plantations. Well, by golly gee, they all have porticos. Okay? Portico, 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 portico. Now, when I did a video about porticos, I'm not going to do it this time, but I showed that when you Google porticos in Europe, you don't have any, hardly like that. It don't really show any images results. When you Google porticos in Africa, porticos in Asia, porticos in India, stuff like that, you don't come up with results. And why was I doing that? Because this is a Roman-like structure. Now, come on, obviously, this is a Roman-like structure. These are. And why am I talking about that? Well, I just got through showing Allegory of the Continents, where you have these people who are Indians who are walking around being depicted in certain cases with Roman-like garments, like togas. Now, he doesn't have a toga on himself. They're very patriotic. He is very patriotic. Red, white, and blue, sporting it right there. You see pearls in his hands right there, letting you know, hey, I got them for sale. You need them. They trying to move them things. And this is what it is. No, they were just doing what they do. But as you can see over here, she's got her toga-like garments on, and other people do too. But it just got me thinking, like, these people, there's your American there, and as you can see with the hair and the garments, right? These people, see him right there. He's really sporting the red, white, and blue. He doesn't have his garments, but of course, not all of them really have to have the garments. But you will see that as a theme, right? Like this one right here. He has his garment. They always typically want to have their body showing. I guess that is kind of our thing. Everybody else is typically clothed. We're over here showing our bodies off. I guess that's the American thing. But as you can see here, he also has the pearls as well, and the pearl necklace and the pearl earrings, right? He's got the double pearls around his wrist, okay? Theme, right? DeSoto letter, he said that, right? He's also sporting the red, white, and blue, you know what I'm saying? Like melanated, you know what I mean? Everything is there, as well as this Roman-like thing. So it starts to get you wondering, we already wonder who built these buildings. Are you telling me that white folks got here, and when they got here, they decided that they was gonna build all these Roman-like structures. They went Roman crazy, right? But then all of a sudden, they stopped and they don't build none of that no more, and it is what it is. Nah, man. And then even when you look up the White House, it shows it being built with porticos, right? But people will also say that you also know that the slaves built the White House. They'll be like, well, that's what they'll tell you. The slaves built the White House twice, okay? which I guess we built the porticos. You know what I mean? But we just don't think about this, that we built these buildings. And you have Roman looking Hebrew like people, and you have references to them building porticos within their caciques upon the mounds, which of course a lot of those are gone, but even most of your state capitals sit upon upon the hills. When you look at them, let's go back. State capitals, buildings. When you look at them, let's see if we can get a close up. Let's do building entrance. We put entrance. Entrance. As you can see, you typically have to go up some steps before you get into the entrance. Sitting upon a mound, right? Let's find another one. Let's get a little bit closer to this. Let's see if I can get it closer so we can get a good idea, right? You got to go up all them steps before you get into the goddamn main door. And you got to think, okay? Who builds their houses like that? Unless you build them because you build mounds. You know, that's already your type of construction. Now look at this construction. This construction is amazing. Stuff like this, they say, was built in 1 to 2 years, which is impossible. But look at this structure, and then look at, like, you know, the structures that I was just showing down in the Mayan temples. Now, very much so different, but not nonetheless awe-inspiring, and very much so on its symmetry, on its geography. But each one goes up into like a pyramid-like structure, but these are more leveled off pyramids, so you can place, or what they call truncated pyramids or whatever, you can place a large structure such as this on top of that bitch. And it could be setting up high as well. You know, you have a little bit of a whatever. And all of them are like that. And even here in Dallas, there's certain like old structures that I see that another thing where the windows are like halfway into the ground. And it makes you wonder about that. I'm still trying to figure this old world shit out, you know what I mean? Because it's a new lane. It's not a new lane. I definitely have believed in it. It's just hard to find some information sometimes about it, or it's just hard for me to figure out places to look, because I damn sure be wanting to look. You know, I found books like the Chicago Exposition and other stuff, but I'm still like, I really want to dive a lot deeper into that. But either way, let me get back to this. So we got the porticos, right? We got the people who look like Hebrews. Well, I was recently, I'm reading a book called, let me go to the actual book title page. So now I'm reading this book. That's one of them. I hadn't started that one yet. This one is the one I started. I don't want to lose my page. Hold up. Okay. So now I'm like, okay, and I've had this book, these books for a while. I just hadn't, like, for me to, I'd have to really want to be on this subject, because I hate to dive into subjects and not know some of the backing ideas about it. And I don't know and I still don't know the whole story of the Hebrews, and like, why are they the chosen people? You know, probably because they came from certain lines and whatever, but why, you know, and who, and why did they get lost? Where were they before they supposedly got lost? And the whole Moses story and all this other stuff. So, I mean, you know, like I definitely got to rewrap my mind around all of it. But either way, this book right here, as well as the other one, is called The 10 Tribes of Israel, historically identified with the Aborigines of the Western Hemisphere. Now, they're talking about the Indians in America, and they actually are mentioning a lot of the book, some of the voyagers that I had read about and also pulled up some of their books. And I do like that. And I got some references to some of the excerpts, and we'll go through a couple of excerpts. But like in there, it talked like Torquemada. Right, can I highlight it? Torquemada, so I can show you. Like Torquemada. That's in you know what? I'll just do this. Copy. I should be able to pull up that along with this at the same time. Well, I guess not. Let's see. Negro village. Oh, that's gonna be way too much. But well, let me do this. Negro village. Yeah, I don't know. It must be. It didn't pull up because, as you can see, there's Torquemada right there. It must be spelled a little bit differently. But in this particular book, it says that Torquemada says the Californians showed no manner of surprise at the sight of some Negroes that accompanied Vizcaíno on a voyage to the coast AD in 1602, as I have never seen Torquemada's oh, that's probably because he said he's never seen Torquemada's Manqueria Indiana. I can only quote from Venejas, California, the second voyage, who says that from Torquemada that when a Negro was ordered to distribute some biscuit to the Californians at the Bay of St. Barnabas, the natives seemed greatly pleased at the sight of the Negro and signified to him that they lived in friendship and correspondence with a people of his color, and that not far from thence was a Negro village. Okay? That same book says this right here. Though America possesses some dark brown men approaching to black, yet it has almost been universally believed that there were no aboriginal blacks or Negroes found in this continent, but from considering the peculiar circumstances which a black race was found in North America, I hold it more probable that the common opinion is erroneous, meaning that yes, black Indians are in America. And another one further down, he talks about us being aboriginal as well. But right here, you'll see where they talk about the same Torquemada. Okay, so we're going to Torque. So we know that this guy Torquemada, based upon that book, knows that whatever these Indians are, they some black folks, right? So right here, it says that Acosta and Torquemada that the devil had actually counterfeited the history, laws, rights, and customs of the Jews in the New World, and he believed that the Hebrews had colonized America. I think I should have got what was before that, to be honest. But basically, we'll go to another page. But basically, they were like, hey, these black people are these people. They didn't say black in that particular book, but we know that Torquemada had seen the California Indians and saw they was black. But they were saying that black, so-called. But what he was saying was that that these people show so many similarities to these Hebrews that they must either be Hebrew or that maybe the devil had got into them, these people, and gave them Hebrew ways, but perverted it in some kind of sixth sense. And so the ways look similar, but they're not that. He was trying to explain it like that, which is typically what they do, to be honest. They take what we do and the practices and religions and things that we already have, and then they pervert it and give it right back to us. You know, make left look right, make up look down, whatever the case. You get what I'm saying? So we'll go back to some of this book here. It said, let's see if I can see which parts was it. Some of here must have been pretty important. It says Nicholas, Antonio, and Pinello both name it, but it does not appear that the former saw any of it, of the latter more than a part. That portion of the word containing an account of the religion, manners, and customs of the New World was termed apologetical, because he must have endeavored to palliate in some manners and customs which were used to please the greedy proprietors of the communion. Okay, whatever. Indians and civil rights reduced them to, Indian, right here, to press the crown. So they're talking about, regardless about that, they were talking about Nicholas and Antonio Pinella or whatever. And they basically said that they had went to press the crown to deprive the Indians of all civil rights and reduce them to the conditions of absolute slavery. Okay? Who did they do that to? You know what I mean? We know who they did that to. But, and it says, and how could that learned prelate set up stronger defense for the Indians than showing that their institution were derived from the Hebrews? Okay? Let's go to another one. Let me see. Deprived of valuable painting, religious collections, magnificent monuments, shotgun when engaged in the compilation, taken away. At a Disney state world, readily conceived how many. I'm trying to remember which ones of these was. They're all somewhat important. For 3 centuries, those who successfully composed the council exercised function. Now, this right here is actually pretty important, because this goes along the lines of censorship of books published for hundreds of years to try to get this erasure going. Right here it says, let me make this a little bit bigger. At this distance of time, when the state of the world is so different from what it was in the 16th century, the 1500s, it may not be, and this book was written in 1822, early 1800s, okay? So you're talking about in the 1500s, it may not be readily conceived how easy it was for the Council of the Indies, through the power vested in it of permitting or prohibiting the general circulation of all writings relative to America, okay? To keep the rest of Europe in a state of darkness respecting the history of the new continent. For 3 centuries, 300 years, those who successfully composed that council exercised their functions as censors, with the greatest vigilance. For 300 years, these people instituted a censorship plan in order to erase history, at least in certain areas, and in many areas up in Europe, and as many places as they could. But you got to think about that. That's generations upon generations. People who are not even going to be alive to see the fruits of this, but starting it and continuing it. Now, I know that this happens because I did a whole video that is pinned to my TikTok page right here. And it explains and shows how not only did these people come over and institute a plan, like right here, not only, let me switch this, not only did these people come over here in 1766, I can't really highlight it, yeah, I won't highlight, but in that first top paragraph right there, among the traders listed in the records of the British Colonial Office, and it shows these last names: Cheadle, Adair, Colbert, Seeley, Kemp, James, McLish, Love, and many more. Well, I also find those names as well
is in this document.
This document here, the General Law of the Chickasaw Legislature in 1867, almost 100 years later. And when you look in there, you have
here, you got to,
with those same last names: Kemp, Colbert, Colbert, Love down there, and many others as you go through the document. You have these people instituting plans and following through with them for generations. That's why us as melanated Indians, black folks, so called, right? That's why we gotta figure out a way to combat that shit. That's some hard shit to combat. Because you really just don't think that people not only have the fucking fortitude and the thought ideas that they would even do something that's gonna affect 5 generations later. The fact that they would somehow stick that shit through, let you know it's not that these people are just together. It's something they doing to their family members. Like, what the fuck is you telling your sons that come into the world that makes them believe that they need to follow through with your fucking plan? And what's making them follow through with the shit and not getting some moral bone about their motherfucking body? Some kind of ethics in their shit. The shit is crazy. And to see that, and then to also see this as we go back to it, to see that these people were holding censorship, decades-long censorship on publishing anything about America to erase everybody's history of America, so that way they can be like, look what we found, guys. Oh shit, we just stumbled on this bitch. Fuck out of here, man. The shit is crazy. Let me just see. It says, suffered the first instance of any obnoxious work to appear in print was sure soon to be recalled. Thus, the history of the Indies by Gomara, dedicated to Charles V, and the conquest of Mexico. I was able to find those books, but they're in Spanish, Paleo Spanish, so I can't really read them. By the same author, dedicated to Don Martin Cortez, son of the celebrated conqueror, became prohibited books soon after their publication. But there were other works against which a silent war was waged in Spain. So let me just make sure my stream is straight. To Don Martin Cortez. Stream is straight. Ain't nobody watching that motherfucker though. Whack ass YouTube. Appreciate the TikTok world. Y'all be here for a nigga. But let's see. So you got this censorship going on. Because they knew these people. Again, this book is about the people being Hebrews. Let's see what I got over here. So these are some of the names of some of those voyagers. Notices of the opinions of Torquemada, Herrera, de Acosta, Gomara, Cortez, de Olms, Turbino, Benvenal, whatever, Martyr, and Gomela. Now, I haven't heard of some. Now I have other people to look up. Now, I haven't heard of all of these. I've heard of Peter Martyr. I've heard of Torquemada. I've heard of Cortez. And I've heard of Gomara. I may have heard of Herrera, not really 100% sure. But I've heard of many of these, and I've read some of the stuff from some of them. So when I see these things, I feel better about my own research, because these niggas is researching those books, right? And I had already been on some of them. You know what I mean? So you feel real good when you see some shit like that. And it also gives credit to the writer, the author a little bit, even though later this particular author starts going into the Bering Strait story and the people coming from Asia being the Americans, which is some bullshit, because I just told y'all, like I was showing y'all, Torquemada had already talked about the Californian Indians being Negroes, okay? And when they brought some Negroes over, he was like, oh, look at these Negroes type of thing, right? But yeah, so I'm not gonna harp on this particular subject too long, because I'm still fresh and new into the 10 tribes of Israel, and I want to read that book as well as this other one right here, the 10 tribes of Israel, the true history of the North American Indians, showing that they are the descendants of the 10 tribes. I mean, it says it on the book. And this book is in the Library of Congress. So, written in 1883. The other one was written in like 1822 or something. So I started with the oldest one first. But I'm definitely going to be diving deep into this book so I can understand what's all the hubbub about as far as this whole Hebrew thing. I get it, like I just want to know what the purpose. or is it because we're supposed to be following a particular religion? And don't get me wrong, because I've seen a lot of Hebrew artifacts as well. So I mean, I'm not gonna take away from the fact that yeah, there's a lot of uh, things of that nature. I can show you on my Twitter, TikTok. I'll go down to it, but I'm gonna show you a particular thing where this dude has tons of artifacts, and there's another one I know of too. But and they go back to the letters, or Paleo Hebrew, and some of them have the letters of Jehovah or Yod He Va, Yehovah or Jehovah, like they say, and that's the IHS. Here it is right here.
Now, many of us have seen this symbol, IHS. What does that stand for? I remember.
Now y'all can hear the audio, but I can't, and I don't want y'all to hear the audio. I'll let you hear the audio on certain parts, like right here. I won't be able to hear it, but here's some of the Hebrew things found.
Originated in the Middle East shortly after the time of the Tower of Babel. Yet, it is a sacred symbol in many Algonquin tribes right here in North America that has been passed on through the generations from their ancient ancestors. Why is it sacred to these tribes? Because it is the name of the Creator, which is read from right to left, and the name is Yod He Va. Now, like I said, this symbol has been found all over the eastern half of North America.
It's been found all over the Americas.
YouTube can hear
even
this. TikTok
in your fucking
so YouTube can hear
church.
It's y'all at TikTok that can hear. I better say I'm at the.
But I want to focus right now on what are known as the Michigan relics, many of which have this cuneiform name of God carved on them, as well as Egyptian, Assyrian, Phoenician, and Greek characters, and artwork depicting biblical stories. Yet, U.S. academia says,
so I did this whole thing about IHS. They keep finding this IHS.
As the
really,
1840s.
The symbol wasn't IHS. It was
through the generations from their ancient ancestors. Why is it sacred to these tribes? Because it is the name of the Creator, which is read from right to left, and the name.
Stop. There you go. So that's the script that it was right there. But it looks like I, an H, and a slash. But it is the word of God, supposedly. Yod He Va. And you would find this in many artifacts that they found in mounds. And he was showing those.
So
get out of here. Get off of that. So you got these artifacts, as well as if you go to mound artifacts. You got this dude.
1920, all Lower Michigan.
And Upper Indiana.
Upper Indiana.
Since I can't hear and I'm going to have to figure out a way to get this to work, I'm not going to be able to play it like that. But you got this dude showing you all of these artifacts as well. Some of these have Hebrew writings on it as well. And he shows some of the same one. Like that's some Hebrew writing right there. That's some Hebrew writing right there. Hold up. They even have the little what's that? The little symbol for the little Hanukkah symbol with the little candles and shit. All this stuff they found in mounds and stuff like that. There's some Hebrew script, things of that nature. Because they want to tell you that these people wasn't writing anything down, but these people was actually destroying things. That's actually what I wanted to show you also. Not only were they doing censorship in that book that I showed you, but let me see if I can find it here. Therefore, it might say anything, many Inquisition, foreign sort license, passed over to America. Mexican quiet knowledge, been capable of detecting on my right outside knowledge, the greatest learning research toward my land, Spaniards never visit America, calculate fresh topics, vehemently, they regard it derogatory. That's a good one, but I wanted to show one where they talked about like really like getting rid of the shit. Let me just type the word burn. Right here. Pieces of sculpture were mutilated or buried. Paintings were burned. Temples and edifices which from their size it was impossible to destroy were suffered to fall into oblivion. So there were certain things, let's see, let me make sure I didn't miss it. It was very difficult for everything in Mexico to calculate, draw attention to ancient history of the country, more especially in the connection of religious recollection. Carefully removed the notice immediately and the conquest. Immediately after the conquest. They're talking about the conquest of Mexico, where all of these things is. But they were going through burning things, setting things on, destroying things, mutilating things, statues and stuff like that. Shogun did first right to prove that the Hebrews, and it shows right here, Shogun had engaged in the compilation of his history after it had been taken away from him and again restored, received 3 cautions. First, to write nothing to prove that the Hebrews had colonized the New World. Secondly, to be guarded in what he said of the devils having been imitated, whatever. As you can see, they were telling him, hey, don't be saying nothing about these people being over there, okay? Don't say nothing about that, okay? And they also going through burning stuff, getting rid of evidence, and going through censoring books, okay? And I think here's another one. Rigid orders were given shortly, right here. Rigid orders was given shortly afterwards to the bishop and clergy of New Spain to cause them all to be burnt. Now let me go up a little bit so we get a little bit of context. What are they talking about? Cortez. He had been 4 years in Spain and had acquired a knowledge of the Mexican language. He must therefore have known the real use of those paintings. And so these were paintings. I forgot where the paintings came from. It said it above. He must therefore have known the real use of those paintings and what his motive could in saying that they had no signification nor meaning. It could be difficult to explain. Rigid orders were given shortly afterwards to the bishop and clergy of New Spain to cause them to be burned. Spain passed some extraordinary laws prohibiting lawyers, surgeons, literary, Jews, heretics, and the descendants of the third generations of persons suspected by the Inquisition and foreigners of all sorts who have not received a license at Seville from passing over to America. So they had even stopped people from going to America, okay? Unless you had some kind of license or something if they could get you to stop. That's even more so crazy. So now we're gonna go back just to kind of refresh where we started. Now we see what they're trying to get rid of. Trying to get rid of the fact that you have people here who were the builders of society and civilizations. The people who built porticos on their houses, all right? And those same porticos you will find in the plantations, on their houses, and on the fucking state capitals, and some of their churches, and many other things. All across the United States, built by somebody, okay? And on top of that, you have these people being depicted by Germans at a time when they're supposed to be depicted as being on plantations, but being depicted as people who are of some kind of, look, even his knees is on something soft. He done put a straight red, white, and blue striped pillow down as he gets on his motherfucking knees to thank whatever kind of, whatever they doing to whatever kind of religious thing they got going on in this photo. But these people were a civilized people. These people are who they trying to hide and who they did hide, who they said was no longer here. Every time you turn around, who built this shit over here? I don't know, but they gone. Well, who built that? I don't know, but they gone too. Damn, they just keep leaving? Yeah, we ain't got no explanations for it whatsoever. Okay. All right. All right. But why these people got all these paintings over here depicting all these people over here? Because they Germans, okay? And they propagandists, okay? That's why they got it. And you shouldn't look over there. You shouldn't look at these things, okay? Because it's not true, okay? No, that's not an American. Right there. No, that is not an American. I don't care if she wear pearls. I don't care if she's melanated. I don't care if it's historically correct by some of the voyagers, okay? It's not them, okay? We try to get rid of all that. You can't be finding this shit. But we found it, okay? And we done fucking with y'all people, okay? I'm tired of this shit. Not really. I'm going to keep looking up shit because I actually like doing it. I'm going to keep catching y'all in as many lives as possible. So let me say what up to the folks down here. Y'all know I was going in. What's happening with you, y'all? What's happening? I don't want to mess up any other, I'll be knowing the context. I'll be done cut somebody out. And they're like, man, I was cool with you. I was just saying something. Okay, well, let me take all that back because I didn't know the context. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all coming up in here. I hope I taught y'all something. One, it's good to know that the Allegory of the Continents is digitized. Not only because we have access to it, but also because that means that these people over there know for sure that they're talking about real Americans when they put it in there. Okay, and these people know what the hell an American is. In fact, what's up, Nikki? In fact, I just seen a person, one of my customers. She ended up, she was telling me that she was about to get shipped off to Germany, and we were doing her car or whatever, and I was telling her, man, make sure you go to them Germany churches, okay? This is before I found this. I said, man, there's all kind of stuff down there, you know what I mean? They tell you you're not Indian, but it ain't what it is. It is what it is. What's your YouTube so you watch the playback? What is my YouTube now? Hold up. I did change it. Samuel Ali Cujillo or Samuel C. I don't know which way you'll find it. You might find it with the Samuel Ali Cujillo. Sometimes I put the H instead of the A. I need to be more consistent with it. I'll probably start making everything with the H. But Samuel Ali Cujillo or Samuel C. Appreciate y'all coming in. And yeah. And I'm doing this because I want to be able to, I love going live on TikTok because I get way more engagement on TikTok. I don't get hardly no engagement on, but I also don't have no subscribers. I got like 300 subscribers on my YouTube. It just don't be pushing shit out, but I mean, it's 300 subscribers. What can you expect? But I used to put out like not tons. I put out some content. So it could be me, but I'm trying to build it up. Not really build it up. I'm really just trying to do the long form thing because I be on these live streams, but I want the long form to also be there for people who like long form. Like I listen to long form podcasts or people's videos in my ear if I'm working or something like that. Other than that, I might listen in on y'all. Now I might listen in. You said 301 now. Appreciate that, Nikki. Now I might listen in on the live streams, on the debates and stuff on TikTok. But typically I'm on somebody's long form something, and it's really needed. It really is needed because I can fit a lot more in this long form and on these live streams, obviously, than I can in the 10-minute videos. But the 10-minute videos, they be the ones that really go far. They really get seen a lot more. But I want all the information. Hopefully people will find me, and then hopefully it'll draw them into the long form, so that way they can get the whole picture of what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to do any of this for like pay or anything like that. Really, it's just because I'm trying to get more serious and talk about what we find, what I find more, because a lot of these, I'm just tired of seeing like these Pan-Africans and these other, everybody else just talking, man, and just saying this stuff, and they ain't showing nothing, and it's just really annoying. So I'm gonna be on here a little bit more often, and I'll be rehashing a lot of my old topics while creating new topics, because I don't have my old topics in this long form, but I'm still gonna go live on TikTok for those who haven't seen it, or those who haven't been through some of those topics as well. So stay tuned for your boy over here, all right, on the Black Magic Cam. Okay, finally got it to work the right way. I feel so stupid, but that's a long story too. But anyways, y'all enjoy y'all night. I appreciate it.